Martin Holmes is a musician, promoter and college music tutor. Year after year he sees new musicians enter the industry along with their selected genre. But how does he feel about these genres and trends that are all around us today? Is pop music taking over, or are the fundamentals still there with some of his students?
Occasionally, sometimes, we get a group of, let's say, 25 each year. Some of them, one year from year, will be, you'll get quite a number of metal heads, if you like, and then the next year, there'll be none at all. So for instance, my second year is now not one student is into metal, but my first years, 80% of them are into metal, and then next year, you'll get a different style. So it tends to be the year of the metal and the year of the not, if that makes sense. That's the recurring theme. Every student that comes, because it's a music practice course, they play guitar, drums, bass, so you don't get a lot of hip hop or grinding. A lot of music tech students do that. So it is generally based on rock, on any element of that. The only sort of difference is that they come with new bands. As music progresses, the students come in and they know a lot more material from new bands. And then there's occasionally a student will be able to pull out a Led Zeppelin song or something that's just a little bit older. That seems to be the trend, that kind of dies down. But what they play also depends heavily on the charts. When Green Day brought out American Idiot, everybody wanted to play Green Day. When that sort of died down, nobody plays Green Day anymore. So it all depends on what the current music scene's doing as well. In the first year, it's metal. Everybody loves metal. There's a lot of pop as well. It's a bit of a contrasting trend. There's people that want to do stuff that I've never heard of. Show me age. But the old-time favourites still sort of get played. Like the metal people like to play Iron Maiden and Paranoid and things like that. But the second years are into a lot more soulful stuff, like Stevie Wonder. I grew up listening to AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, and it was the guitar-led music that I was really into as a guitarist. So anything that had a great guitar sound, that's what I got into. What I wasn't that keen on is the 80s drums, that whole gated reverb. It was just, so I tried to stay clear of the cheesy 80s stuff. But early 90s grunge music, that took a big part because it was easy to play. It's 3 chords, heavily distorted, you can make mistakes, and you can just crank up your distortion on your guitar and you thought you were Kurt Cobain, and it didn't matter what you played. So that kind of captured my imagination of, I'm rubbish, but it doesn't matter, I make loads of noise, I'm a guitarist. As I grew up and learned more about music and understood it more, I then started to appreciate other music. I understood the Beatles, I understood what soul and funk and reggae and blues, and I started to appreciate all that. With the big influx of X Factor people that are playing covers, a lot of my students don't understand the original composer. They'll sing songs thinking that the person that won the X Factor was the writer. I had a conversation with a student the other day, and I just take this for granted. They didn't know who Led Zeppelin were. Now, when I first started teaching, everybody knew who Led Zeppelin were, but over the years, less and less students know the Beatles, they don't know Led Zeppelin, they don't know Rolling Stones, and that's one of the biggest things, is that even though I teach the same age group year on year, their musical knowledge from history deteriorates because there's only so much they can access and listen to over the years. So I think it depends on what their parents listen to, but it's whatever comes out there. It's radio, telly, that's what they like to hear, that's what they play, that's what they bring to the college. Music will always be there, guitar music, all the different genres with the inclusion of new genres. As times go, there's always, 80s have got a big comeback at the moment with bands like The Killers. But they will always repeat themselves. But as new music comes out, the students that will start will obviously be tapped into that. Like Ed Sheeran, a lot of my students played Ed Sheeran this year. He's been out 2 years. So in 3 years' time, they won't be playing Ed Sheeran, they'll be playing the next new artist. So it really depends on what's happening in the industry to what their influences are.
Hi, I'm Martin Holmes, and this is Music Talks.